Yo, what's up? It's your man Jay White, first name, last name, Wealth Wednesdays, after party with Jay White. You see right here to my left, probably your right. It's the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Malik Yoba. How you doing, boss?
Look, I just wrote Jay White. You said
you feel me? First name, last name.
I got to take notes.
Hey, come on, man. I appreciate you being here, man. Listen, if y'all don't know who this is, I need a little thing to play the theme music to New York Undercover, man. So I want to talk about that real quick first. What was that like, the whole experience? How long did that show even run for?
94 to 98.
So my people that's in their 20s.
They made like the dude behind your camera.
They might need the YouTube.
Actually, you know what's crazy is because he wasn't even born when we started the show.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Did you start there or no, you already had acting gigs and all that before that?
I grew up doing theater as a kid.
Oh yeah?
So yeah, I was acting. Yeah.
Bro, you smooth with it though. Like, you know, I wanted to be a cop because of the show. But until I had to take a test and all that, I was like, nah, I'm good. Y'all ain't let me wear plain clothes like I see my man doing. I'm good.
Yeah. No, man, I grew up doing theater and musical theater.
Yeah.
Growing up.
So a lot of people that don't know or haven't had a personal conversation with you don't know that you speak very well. But you just told me earlier that you've been speaking since 16 on stages or just?
Oh yeah, man, around the world, man.
So talk to me like what do you, so at 16 years old speaking around the world, what are you speaking about?
I didn't start at 16 around the world. I started in Harlem.
Okay.
Working with the kids. Now,
That's where you from? You from Harlem?
Yeah, I'm from the Bronx. We're raised in Harlem.
Y'all New York people, man. I swear for the Lord.
But that was, I started tutoring kids at 16.
Okay.
After school programs. By 18, I was running a theater program. I was teaching theater in a summer school.
Yeah.
I mean, a summer camp.
Okay.
And then by 19, I was working with a group called the City Kids Foundation.
Okay.
By 20, I was working in 13 high schools around New York, helping to reduce the dropout rate, engaging young people. So that's when it really started for me, like in my early 20s, late teens, early 20s, traveling around the country first and around the world. But nah, the public speaking thing, you know, it's funny because you mentioned New York Undercover made you.
Yeah,
I
it did,
remember
straight up.
sitting in the audience watching like motivational speakers and they look you in the eye and you feel like they're talking to you, and I remember thinking I want to do that one day. But yeah, I've been doing that forever, bro.
Seriously? Yeah. So let me ask you, man, you've seen, we're going to get into how we personally met, but then let me ask you this, you've seen me speak before. Do I got the chops to act, man? Do I got the chops to act too, though? I want to be
you know, it's funny because I'm just telling you this now, even after we met.
Yeah.
You were hosting.
Yeah.
What I appreciated is you understand the things that are necessary to keep people engaged, right?
Yeah.
You were lively, you were yourself, number one. You weren't trying to act like anybody else. You were funny, but you were poignant at the same time. You were insightful. You talked about your personal experiences. You knew how to keep the energy going.
Appreciate that.
So all that's, you know, you didn't get that right away. You had to
for sure
develop that over time. So.
Yeah. You know, the very first time I spoke, man, I was like hella nervous, but then at the same time, I was speaking in front of kids. Right. And that actually made me nervous because they're very transparent. They were like, boo, get out of here. Right. So I started to talk in front of kids first and then gauge their attention. If you can grasp their attention, adults is kind of like that.
Yeah, that's where it started for me too. Working with kids. So yeah, man, you got the it factor.
I appreciate it, man.
You can act now.
Talk to me.
Depends on how deep you want to go, right? So you could act close to yourself.
Yeah.
You know,
I want to do it like you did with Janet Jackson, and then you showing all the emotion. For anybody that don't know, that's Why Did I Get Married, man. Go watch it. Go peep that out.
I mean, emotions are part of it. I mean, that's one of the keys, right? It's really about how far can you stretch yourself from yourself.
For sure, I see that.
So
we
could play ourselves. Like I did, New York Undercover. That was, for me, that was almost like a dream come true because I'm from New York.
Yeah.
So I was very proud to represent.
It looked real natural.
But anything that I've done, you always find. For me anyway, you're always trying to find the thing that's furthest away from you.
Yeah.
Because putting on yourself or aspect, I mean, there's always going to be an aspect of yourself.
Yeah, for sure. In anything.
Way, shape,
okay.
or form.
I believe that.
So it could, whether it's how you walk, how you move, how you hold a pen.
Yeah.
You know, how you gesture, any of those things.
Yeah.
So the more nuanced you become in the craft, then the more you think about those things.
Yeah, I can feel
how
it.
you hold your body. How
Yeah.
You know, like if you think of Cool Runnings as for instance.
Cool
My
Runnings.
character was always
Yeah.
walking with his chest
Yeah,
out.
yeah,
Right? And that was
yeah.
a very deliberate, subtle thing, but
Yeah.
deliberate, and it goes on from there.
Nah, that's fire, man. So you know my show is about how celebrities use their celebrity into entrepreneurship
Yes, sir.
and what that journey is like.
Yeah.
But before I get there, I just got a personal question I want to ask you, man. I'm laughing because I've been itching to ask you this question for a minute. How was it kissing Janet Jackson?
You gotta ask her. Was it like kissing Malik?
Oh yeah.
Nah, actually, we didn't really kiss that much in the movie. You don't recall. There was a moment though, we had a scene where we're all outside by the fire drinking hot chocolate.
And by the beach?
In the first one.
Okay.
The first one, and the women get up to go into the house, and
Yeah.
she gets up and I smack her on the
Oh yeah.
backside. And Tyler's like, what are you doing? I'm like, bro, that's my wife.
That's the wife. What we talking about?
So, but I said to her, I asked her first, like, are you okay?
Okay.
But some actors, like, you have to prep them before you do things.
Oh, they don't like impromptu?
Well, it depends
off
on
the script?
It depends
Okay.
on who the actor is.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Some actors, you just automatically know anything is game, but you also want to keep the space respectful.
For sure, yeah.
As much
yeah.
as possible. And I'm big on improv.
Yeah.
So I'm always, going to add something either like before they say action. I might start a whole conversation in character with you before we start, before they say action, so that because they got to live before the moment. And after,
okay,
right?
yeah.
So yeah, in that case, because it was Janet,
Yeah.
I was being very extra respectful. You know what I mean?
Because anybody my age group, Janet is it, and Claire Hustable too. You feel?
And she played my mom, Felicia.
And what?
Yeah, we did a show together called Bull back in like 2000.
Okay.
It was a show where I was playing a Wall Street broker, and James Avery.
Okay.
Fresh Prince,
Yep.
Felicia was my mama.
That's crazy.
But it goes. So I first met her when I was 16. I did a lot when I was 16.
Yeah, I see.
But I was also working at this theater called the Negro Ensemble Company.
Because the Cosby Show was taken in New York? Or how do you?
it was taped in
Okay.
New York. But this is 80. This was after the Cosby Show, because I was working there. I forget the years Cosby Show ran, but I was working at the theater in about 80, probably 80, 84, 5,
Okay.
something like that.
All right.
So she was doing a play called Puppet Play, and I was an usher.
Oh, okay.
I would, like, learn all the lines,
Yeah.
all the actors, and I'd spend time with her after the shows, or between the shows, sometimes a matinee and an evening show.
Okay.
And just get advice from her about the career, and then 16 years later, we're on set together.
That's
She's playing my
crazy.
mom.
She remember?
Of course, yeah.
That's
Yeah,
crazy.
I met Sam Jackson then. He was doing a play called Color People's Time.
Yep.
He taught me how to play the bones, like old
Okay.
slaves
Yeah.
to play the bones.
Okay.
Angela Bassett. In
Angela
fact, my very
Bassett.
first
Woo.
agent I signed with, because Angie and Sam were signed to this.
To him too?
Yeah, and
Okay,
so
to
when
the
I
agency.
first booked Cool Runnings, I didn't have an agent. It was an open call.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So.
I usually went in there and busted down.
And so they said, you gotta have an agent. So I knew that Sam and Angela were represented by this woman named Meg Mortimer.
Okay.
And yeah, so that was my first agency because of people that I met when I was.
That's
a teenager.
fire, yo. From 16 years old.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So, bro, I really want to talk about how we met, but then Yoba Development, right? And what's that about? That's your company. How long has that been around, and what's the initiative?
So Yoba Development, I started that in 2017.
Okay.
That is a real estate development company.
All right.
In the broadest sense of the term, meaning the first real estate we own is in our minds.
Okay. I
So
agree with
there's
that.
a huge focus on education. So it's real estate development.
Okay.
Sticks and bricks, buildings. It's also education programs,
Okay.
and then it's media content.
When you say education programs,
So
like,
we just ran the first real estate development curriculum for New York City public high school students.
really?
So yeah, so partnership with Department of Education, also with Pratt Institute,
Okay.
School of Architecture.
Okay.
And then on the community side, So it's high schools, colleges, and community.
Oh, nice.
We have an activation that we do called From the Ground Up, Flipping the Hood.
Okay,
Which is all about bringing together like-minded individuals across different industries with a strong focus on real estate development, generational wealth building, but community development in the broader sense. One of the pieces is federal contracting.
Of course.
Just putting people up on that game because people don't realize it's right under their nose. It's
Bring me a part of it, bro. Bring me a part of it.
Yeah, I told you that.
Yeah.
I told you.
Bring me a part of it.
Yeah. So those are the three buckets. And on the media side, so whether it's scripted stuff, I got a doc series called The Real Estate Mixtape.
Oh, nice.
Which is about my journey doing my first development deal in New York.
When was it?
We shot that in 2019.
Okay.
But I started on the development side in 2007.
For your name and how people know of you, is that a difficult transition now? You speaking real estate and development, etc.
I mean, the reality is the social currency is real. Right?
Okay. Yeah.
So I mean, just even me getting my first seat at the table, there's some brothers out of New York, Dan Bythewood, and another brother named Ian Arias. Dan, his cousin Reggie Bythewood, used to be a writer on New York Undercover.
Oh,
married to Gina Prince Bythewood, who did Love and Basketball.
Yeah.
And, what's it? Not Warrior King. What's that?
Woman King.
Woman King.
Yeah.
And so Gina wrote that. But so I know Dan since I was doing New York Undercover.
Yeah.
And so we reconnected in early 2000s, and I just told him, hey, I've always had a dream to get into development. I'd been already buying real estate and seeing the kind of money you could make, not by flipping, but just doing real estate transactions.
So what, like just buying, holding, and?
So even just personal home.
Okay.
Like the first place I bought, I mean, I made almost, it was, I don't know, I bought for $2 something, sold for almost $1 million.
Okay.
So that was the first transaction.
Yeah.
I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, it's real.
This is real.
It's real.
Yeah.
So for people that just be starting, that don't have a name like you, right? How would you consider real estate as it relates to just wealth, building wealth?
I think, how would I relate? Say it again.
Real estate and building wealth for people that don't have a name like you. So let's just say I'm just starting from the ground up.
Man, there's a whole lot of people that have done really, really well that don't have a name. I mean, for me, that gave me a certain amount of access, but I think that no matter who you are, if it's something you want to do, you got to pursue it and learn it. And seek out mentors and what have you. So, and when I think about development, everybody isn't going to be a developer. But I think it's important to understand how development works, especially in our communities.
Okay.
Because no matter where we were as people of color, black people specifically, we were redlined, right?
Agreed.
So federal policy said you can't live here, you can only live here. We're not going to invest in these communities. And then as we experience gentrification and displacement, most people feel like something is happening to them, right?
To them,
There's a big, ugly ogre that's,
right?
But the reality is, if we take the time to at least understand how it functions, then you could figure out your way in.
Yeah.
It might be through a title company or a mortgage company. It might be through doing assessments. It might be doing inspections. It might be becoming a contractor. It might be working on the finance side or the insurance side, whatever it is, right? So I think it's important that as we move into communities and we develop, we also have to develop the people.
100%.
Right? So that's why the education piece.
Because you building up that community, but if the same individual mindset is there, that community is going to be now what?
Right.
Destroyed.
Right.
It's over. Was it a big learning curve for you getting into?
I'm still on learning curve. It's been shit, man. You never stop because each deal is different. Each jurisdiction is different. What works in, say, like Baltimore, where we can develop and have 80-20, right? 80% affordable, market rate, 20% affordable.
Okay.
There are other markets where that doesn't work. That's not even a thing that people do, right? Or mixed income, right? So, I'm working on a project down in Augusta. So the folks that brought us into the project who own the land, they were thinking strictly initially market rate.
Okay.
Right? And so that makes sense based on what they understood. They mainly do strip malls, they don't do residential. But in speaking to them and helping them understand, and we are able to, because of what you can do in the state of Georgia, and in Augusta specifically, you can do a mixed income. You can do affordable, and you can do market rate.
Okay.
And that will help shift not just the demographic, but the psychographic of the community, right? Because you have low-income families living next to families that are say workforce development.
Yeah,
right?
middle class.
Then you have a mixture of mentalities. So that kid whose parents, they might have been on a generational pathway of poverty, or just living right above or below poverty, right? But then they're living next to a kid whose parent is a doctor or a lawyer or working in technology. Now you have an opportunity to cross-pollinate consciousness, right?
Well, so I agree. However, I'm gonna just put myself into the situation. If I am living at this means, do I really want to be neighbors with the mentality of some?
A lot of people don't.
You see what I'm saying?
That's the NIMBYism.
So how do you continue to create that? I love the vision, but how do you actually put that?
Well, that's why I think education comes to be a part of it, right? And so it also matters if you are owners versus renters.
Yeah, okay.
Right?
Yeah.
People who have ownership, they will tend to have a lot more love and consideration for their physical space. People who are just renting don't always feel the exact same way.
That's true.
I think as developers, particularly black developers, especially if you're going to develop in communities that have been marginalized, I believe you have to go the extra mile to engage the community in itself and educate as you go along. Every developer is not going to have that as part of their program.
No.
But for me, and the types of people that I like to partner with, that is how we think about things. You don't think about we're just developing real estate, you're developing a community.
Yeah.
Right? So in Augusta, as an example, there's a Boys and Girls Club going in, there's a charter school going in. We're looking at doing like a STEAM center where kids can learn about technology, adding the arts to that as well. So it's a much more holistic approach to development, and it's not just we're gonna come in here to grab a bag and just think about.
So that means number one, let me ask you this, your company just focus on residential more than commercial?
Primarily, that's what it's been,
Okay.
is residential, and that's why Augusta, as an example, they've been commercial developers. They've never done residential. So, they, were aware of what we did in Baltimore.
Okay.
And said, hey, could you bring something like that?
Well, what'd you do in Baltimore? Let me know.
This is the first project that I told you about.
Yeah,
so it's called Center West. Yoba Development was not the lead developer. That was Lasate, the guy I mentioned.
Yeah.
That's Dan Brightwood. So Dan's the dude who said, hey, you want to learn? Come have a seat at the table. So that's where I got a chance to, my very first meeting in 2007, 2008 was with the city. Met with land use.
Okay.
And then I get to meet with local council people. I got to meet the mayor. I got to meet the political infrastructure that helps, give you the right to build in their city.
Yeah.
Right? There's certain incentives that you're going to get to build. Certain relationships you have to build because you have to have people who are going to lobby for you and what have you. And the more I did that, and the more I learned, the more I was like, yo, we got to share this information.
That's dope, man.
With
That's dope. What area in Baltimore?
West Baltimore, Poppleton.
Over West.
Yeah.
Shout out to my peoples over West.
Right, where the wire was shot.
Over West.
Schroeder, So, man. So currently, there's 2 structures up right now, 262 units, and then another 100 in the pipeline.
When will the whole development be completed?
Well, this is 14 acres, so this is like a 20-year proposition. So and development's a long game.
That's
right?
what I was going to ask.
For some people, it's about flipping to make that quick. No, this is like you in it and you in it for.
No, that's good.
And typically, from a developer fee perspective, by the time you finish the construction, you refi the construction loan, cash out, get your developer fee. Yeah. Keep it moving.
So is it difficult to be a black developer? Is it difficult? That's the first thing. Is it difficult? And then number 2, the type of projects like your company, Yoba Development, is going for, are they far few in between?
No, the only way for me, first of all, yes, it's difficult. It's extremely difficult because access to capital is a very real thing, right? Or the lack of access to capital. And so that's a major pain point. I don't care who you are, if you're in development, when you are black, absolutely. And back to the education piece, right? In order to get the financing, either you're going to do it yourself. You're gonna get it from banks. You're gonna get it maybe from private equity, individual investors, whatever it's gonna be. Typically, the
crowdfunding, all that good stuff.
Crowdfunding is one of the things. I'm part of a group that's actually started a crowdfunding, equity crowdfunding platform for real estate and entertainment called Invest Tank. So that's coming live in the next couple of months. It's in beta right now. But no matter who you are, access to capital is an issue.
Yeah.
And so that is why, from an education perspective, when we think about development, and particularly with young people, letting folks know, here are all the spaces you can play in. So if you realize you're really good with numbers, then the finance lane might be good for you.
For sure.
Right? So that as you move through the world of finance, and you might end up on an investment committee or have a voice in who decides where the funding goes, then you have, you're in a position, right? We're doing a transaction right now. And I don't just do the development, I'm more entrepreneurial in the space. So sometimes people might come to me for capital. And I'll say, okay, well, I may not have what they need, but I know someone that has it. And so there's ways to broker those kind of deals. And in doing these kinds of things, you run into folks, like we're working on a deal right now, up to about $50 million line of credit. The person who is helping to facilitate this on the lender side is a black dude who was put in position to find other black people. Now, if he wasn't at that company, it would be a bunch of old white dudes that were conscious enough to go, we need you because we're trying to get this money, number one, from the Middle East, where there's brown people that look like you.
Absolutely.
But we also want to find other people like you that we can help fund. So these are the spaces, number one, we have to just be made aware that exists and that we can play in.
I follow a few individuals, developers on Instagram, but I'm part of a development group. I'm a piece of the financial leg of that development group, but I don't know the ins and outs, right? They don't bring me into the table. They just say, hey, we have this deal. Are you able to provide this percentage of money to get on this deal? And I say yay or nay. So that's all I got.
Is that through a trust?
Yes, it's through a trust. Yep. So that's all I got. So now you saying Yoba Development, number one, comes at it from the real estate and the mind standpoint, the education. And then if we educate the communities properly, once we develop the community, it can withstand whatever is happening in the world because now they're equipped mentally
long after we're gone.
Right?
And when I think of generational wealth, I don't think about just my own family. I think about your kids and his kids that he may or may not have yet. And that's how we have to think about this. For sure. Which is back to the education. And so we all doing our part. You know what I mean? That's where I'm at. And look, there's an actor strike right now. And there's a whole bunch of actors.
I didn't even know that.
Oh yeah, actors and writers strike. First time in 60 years that actors and writers have been striking.
Same time, wow.
And that's because the metrics on how we get paid have changed with streaming, right? Just like in music, right? You get 1 billion streams and no one knows where's the money going. How you making $100,000 when you got 1 billion streams? Same thing is true on the film and TV side. If you're streaming a show, it's not being sold, it's not being driven by advertising dollars. There's no syndication. Right, so then the money ain't gonna be the same. You might get paid just that one time,
and that's it.
And then that's it. And so and then with technology like AI coming into the mix, right? Folks are talking about let's just scan your image one time, pay you once, and then we can use it in perpetuity.
On and on and on.
Things like that, right?
That's crazy.
Where at the end of the day, unless you're producing and controlling the means of distribution, even no matter how big an actor you are, you're still just an employee. Someone's hiring you for a role. And, for me, this whole journey, you talk about the theme of your show, right? What else do people do from the entrepreneurial side? I've always been an entrepreneur. So the real estate company is the 4th or 5th company that I've had.
Oh, wow,
I've had a restaurant in New York for 9 years. I've had a marketing company, had a theater company. I've been involved with I've got pieces of different companies.
That's how you do it.
Whether there's a company called Prism that I'm a partner in that's basically like a digital vault. So if your parents are aging and is a way to put all of your important documents in one digital place. So if they God forbid, pass, you're not looking all over the house on,
Yeah.
you know, so.
Okay.
So
What's the name of the company?
Prism.
Okay.
Prism.
All right.
PR, with 2 M's, Prism.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, prism.com or Go Prism is how to get it. It's a company called Cloudwater.
Okay.
A friend of mine that I grew up with. Started off as a CBD beverage company, but you might see it in your
CBD beverage.
That's where it started, yeah. But because of the federal laws on all, accepting of CBD, we've moved more into like a wellness space.
Okay.
But that's where it started. So those are just a couple of the companies, but there's other things I'm involved with. So I've always been very, very entrepreneurial.
Nah, man. When we spoke, man, I kind of got the vibe. Like, number one, when you meet certain individuals, right, of your caliber, the first thing somebody, at least myself, thinks is like, all right, man, are they gonna be down to earth? Are they gonna be cool? Or are they gonna just be this Hollywood type vibe? You wasn't on it. Then having a conversation, I could tell it's just more to you than somebody just might make the assumption. But then at least I just want to go back to Yoba Development really quickly. What's the next project on education that Yoba Development is doing? And I want to see how we can partner up on the education piece.
So on the media side, there will be a digital platform coming soon that is basically like my version of if you took Forbes and Black Enterprise and Complex and Architectural Digest and a couple other entities and put them together, a destination where you can go and find out who are the top architects or developers, or where's the financing, how do we bring more people to what you're doing, right?
Yeah.
How do we show the best and the brightest of us in these spaces that are geared toward generational wealth building, economic development, real estate development, and have that accessible for the community. But we'll continue on the education side in the schools in New York City, but there's other cities that want us to expand to it. There's also going to be a technology play where a lot of the content will be distributed through an education platform, so it can be more accessible, and scalable. So yeah, man, we're just moving.
I'm trying to get in them high schools, bro. Like I did it. I speak in high schools in Virginia, but to come in on what you're doing from the side that I can speak from.
Yeah, so the federal contracting side. So then
what you do as well.
I got. So we have a whole team that's and I brought my family along. So a couple of my siblings and a cousin and a childhood friend. Hold on.
Let me tell everybody this. I got off stage. My man said, "Hey, yo, Jay White, you know that shit ain't that easy."
But see, what I appreciate about how you approach it is you at least inspire in people the accessibility of it.
Right.
This shit is hard.
Right.
Let's keep it real.
Right.
Sources sought, solicitations, RFQs, the RFPs, understanding the language, building the relationship with the folks on the government side, figuring out which agency you want to work through, knowing how you get your past performances.
All that.
All that shit is really, really cool.
But to your point, when you talk about how Yoba Development does it, I gotta reach the mind first.
Right.
To like you said, I can shed light on inspiring people to do it. Because when you hit federal anything, it's just like, I'm done, yo.
But then you
have
to tell them, those are your tax dollars. When you're paying them federal taxes, where do you think that money's going?
Exactly.
Right back into the
system. A contract.
Same thing on the state and city side. Because we're doing city contracts as well.
Okay.
So when you understand, like, this is your money, this is your country, and actually, I would argue, at least from a Republican perspective, one of the reasons why they talk about small government is not just about lack of regulations, right, for free enterprise. They also don't want motherfuckers to know what's going on.
Of course not. What? Listen,
because
you know how many of us it is out here? And if we get the education on a certain area that they've marketed and cornered for years, what?
Bro, it's problematic. And so that's why, back to the education, I think that what you're doing with this platform, everybody who's using this technology that was not available to us even just 10, 15 years ago at the level that it is now, using social media, it's important, right?
Yeah,
people feel compelled to I got to share what I know. I got to bring, people in, put them up on game, because that's ultimately, that's the only way we're going to win.
That's all it is.
If we are intentional about how can I help you, help me, help you?
Yeah. A mutual beneficial partnership. And a lot of people don't understand it has to be mutual. I think a lot of people these days, because of social media, it's almost like a gimme. What can you give me? But it has to be, okay, I'm gonna give you this, but give me back action. You don't have to give me back anything tangible, just if I give you this, give me back that you're putting it into action.
Bro.
You think so? Talk to me. Because I think my
tangible
action,
just don't mean this.
Okay.
If I put you up on game information, that's tangible.
Okay,
if I give you
I'm with that.
I'm like, yo, go here.
Put it in the work. I'm with you.
Read this book. Read The Color of Law.
Okay.
See how that's going to change your mind.
I'm with that. Yeah.
Right.
Because that's what I need.
Right.
I don't want to talk for my health. I want to talk because I know you're going to listen and then you're going to put it into action.
And even if you don't, right? Because there's a lot of people, will tell me, so, I know with all due respect to what you're thinking, you got to give her props too, because I'm here. I told you, Paula Watts, GPIwin.com.
Okay.
So I know people could go your route in terms of the federal code that you do. But Paula is the person that I learned from.
Okay.
I met her at the same conference I'm here in. Actually, I'm in Houston for 2 conferences, but one is George Fraser's Power Network Conference. And then the NARAB, National Association of Real Estate Brokers, happen to be at the same hotel, so I'm actually
that's crazy.
Bouncing back and forth
we
between,
know
between both conferences. But you got George Fraser, what he's been doing for 40 years, right? Success Runs in Our Race, his books, educating black people. And then you got NARAB, that's 76 years old, working, black-led organization, educating black realtors, right? These are the types of things we need to be doing, right? Working collectively. I'm at NARAB's conference like a year and a half ago or so, and I meet Paula Watts, and I didn't know anything about federal contracting other than a couple of people that I knew. Oh yeah, my man provides food for the Army.
Yeah, right,
He does like $10 million a year, I think. He told me some shit like that, right? I didn't really know about it. But then taking her course, which was like a 24-week course to really understand how it works, because she used to work on the SBA side. So she saw how a lot of us were missing the opportunities because they didn't dot their I or cross their T, or they didn't know how to respond to a solicitation the right way,
properly,
and how to follow up and build those relationships. And so, like I said, I brought my team on so they could learn as well. And the more I learned from her, the more I was like, yo, I got to share this with other people. I can't tell you how many people will cry broke. And I'm like, yo, GPIwin.com. Go follow up. I run into him a couple months later. Did you follow up? Nah.
Of course not.
But that's the part. So I think that, you said you want to make sure when you speak, people listening, sometimes it's not the right time for them.
Time is
I don't
everything.
think we should stop.
I agree. I agree. I do think it comes to a point where it's like, I'm going to keep saying this if you ask me, or if you don't ask me, but don't keep hollering broke to me neither.
That part.
Like, you know what I mean? Don't keep saying, I can't, when I'm giving you the avenues where you can.
Right.
And I need that from individuals too. Take accountability. Like, look in the mirror and say, all right, where's my self-awareness? What am I personally doing wrong? When you got somebody in your corner.
Right.
Everybody's circumstances is different. I'm just saying, when you got that person in your corner, gotta holler.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I appreciate you, bro.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is love, man. This is my guy right here. Give him the website again, man.
You can go to YobaDevelopment.com and see what I'm up to.
What else you got going on in the near future?
Brother, I mean, I'm all over this country, man.
Yes, you are,
I'm
man.
All over the I'm up in Martha's Vineyard next week.
Okay.
Doing my one-man show, Harlem to Hollywood.
Okay.
Which I will ultimately film and distribute on a platform where I got more equity than not. But it's something that I've been working on a long time. Play like 20 characters in it, and it's music, and it's on the acting side. And this is a film that I did recently coming out.
Okay.
Called I think Love for the Holidays, Love After the Holidays.
Okay.
But I'm also a producer on it.
Okay.
Yeah. But I'm actually like where I'm at right now, bro. And the strike really underscores the importance of having your own shit.
Okay, I agree.
Right? As much as I love, being in front of the camera, I've also been writing a lot.
Okay.
So there's some scripted stuff, like I said, we have set in the world of real estate. So I've just found, like through my company, I really found a way to really do all the things that I love and wake up every single day going after it and not thinking about you know, negotiating with a studio for a deal or having to pursue things that I'm not passionate about. Because frankly, a lot of the material that might come my way, either I've done a version of that before, it's shooting too far away. I can't imagine being gone for 6 months on somebody else's dream and neglecting my own, especially since I have the momentum of the last few years, especially since COVID, really, you know, where we all sat down and you reassess, like, yo, where do you really want to be? How do you really want to move? And I just knew that I couldn't keep moving the same way I was moving, and I had already been on this path, right? And then that just continued to not just accelerate, but earn money, right? And then you start making that money that is on par with what you might be making doing, you know, playing a role for somebody else. You're like, yo, the greatest role I could ever play is me. You know? Yeah, for sure. No one's ever gonna pay you like you're gonna pay yourself.
I agree. And a lot of people don't know you're a historian too. But we'll get into that. I know a couple things. You're a historian. Because you done text me some stuff. I said, what? And then I look, you know what I mean? Yeah. But no, I appreciate you, man. Natural conversation, brother. We're going to do business. We definitely going to do business. More soon. Catch this episode and more every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's your boy, Jay White, first name, last name. I holla.